Well, he hit on everything. He hit on, why aren't you asking relevant questions to what the people on the street and the contractors want to hear, right? And Joe Rogan and Tucker and Elon Musk, whatever you think of each of them, they're just very popular, mainstream. Maybe that would have been better because, there isn't that. There's kind of like an independent streak with all three of them, maybe not an NBC bias.
Right. But the point about the host to me is still the point about the first half, which is Ronna McDaniel. Like, why you choose it? Why are they hosting? Yeah. I mean, Hugh Hewitt, fine, whatever. He's 100 years old and whatever. I think he's pretty much lost his fastball at this point, but I don't know. He's fine, but why are the other two there? And it's still a reflection on the RNC. That's the point.
I get the feeling that it's kind of set up to kind of push Haley forward. DeSantis didn't have a good night at all. And he came off the stage. He looked upset, and he's walking really awkwardly. I don't know what's going on with that. Not to make fun of him, but I don't, it's kind of weird. But I wanted to, they're pushing this Haley narrative that she's going to be the one, she's going to gain ground on Trump in South Carolina. I don't think Vivek was wrong. Like, okay, leave your kids and family out of it. But she started it by saying that Vivek was on TikTok. And he was just responding to what she said and said, your family's on TikTok. If you're so concerned about national security and China and all this stuff, and tracking you, and why do you let your daughter on it? And he, he's saying that like 75% of the kids are on TikTok, and how do you reach that young vote? And not that a lot of them probably vote anyway, but you know what I'm saying? You can't ignore that contingent. So how do you get the message out to them? So that's what Vivek was saying. He's using that platform to try to do that.
Yeah, I don't really get the Haley thing. She's like establishment of the establishment of the establishment candidate. She continues to prove that every time she opens her mouth. Trump hired her to be at the UN, and during that time, I always thought that she was doing a pretty good job at the UN. But this isn't 2004 anymore. She runs like she wants. If it's 2004, yeah, you're the candidate. It's just. But
yeah,
I don't really get the. Well, I do get it. She's the establishment, and I guess to some degree that means some of the media, the one they want to push.
She could be vicious. She could be vicious too. She's not all rainbows and unicorns.
I know, but it's not vicious in like it's kind of like it's kind of cringe.
Yeah,
she's like total cringe, like the heel thing. I wear these heels not because. First of all, they're 5 inches.
Yeah, they're 6 inches. I'm going to step on you.
Ammunition or some stupid line she had. That's so lame. It's just lame. But the thing that stuns me now about three of these things is that there has not been any substantial discussion. And I brought this up to John Solomon the other night, and he says to me that everybody just doesn't want to talk about it and move past. Not one single question about COVID. And the thing I don't agree with on John's answer, and I love John Solomon, but every problem, when you think about all of the problems right now that we face, how many of them can you go back and say have either their genesis from or have been like gasoline poured on the fire because of COVID? A lot. There is a lot of what we're dealing with now that you can direct a direct line back to COVID and what they did, whether it's elections, mail-in ballots, vaccines. Yeah. You can go back to suspending so many things. Not a question about it, and then I'm told no one cares. And I don't see how. It's the issue of our time, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Three major events changed the direction of America, maybe for good. Trump derangement syndrome, George Floyd riots, and COVID. Right? How do we come back from that paradigm shift to where now you move towards a kind of like a paramilitary, quasi-technocratic lockdown state that could be implemented at any time for any other reason? That was a first for us as Americans, right?
Having said the fact that I think the RNC putting the two, Kristen Welker and what's his name there yesterday is a joke. And it just goes to the RNC. It just makes you just shake your head. Like, when can we get some serious people in serious positions? Having said that, though, I can't look at the job they did last night and say that was, I think the questions were probably worse because you get questions from their kind of ideology point of view, where the Fox ones, you kind of got questions more about their policies more from a right kind of leaning angle. But I didn't really look at last night and think, well, they did so much of a worse job than the first two. I really couldn't say that.
No, there was nothing special about it. And I got bad news for you. There's going to be a fourth.
Well, the fourth at this point should be the three that were in the middle last night and get rid of, Tim Scott's, just enough of him and get Fatso back to the beach. Just enough.
Yeah, Christie was a non-factor yesterday.
God, just go to Mickey D's and go hit the beach. Put your fat ass back on the beach and shut up.
Yeah.
And just enough of him. It's just enough. With his Trump derangement syndrome and his kamikaze, he's only there to take shots. It was one time last night, only one time that I felt like I needed to, I was actually listening to his answer.
The only relevant responses or attacks that I took away from it were from Vivek. I didn't see anyone else say anything really dynamic because he went where others were afraid to go. Right? I
thought his answer on the abortion thing was very good as well, honestly. Haley, I heard people say they thought she tackled it well. I don't know. She kind of sounds like she concedes to me. I got a lot of emails last night about the 15 seconds that of the time we had last night. I made some comment about yielding on abortion because I gotten a lot of emails, and I just said that could never be our position. I don't know exactly what I said last night, but my God, I woke up this morning to a bunch of emails just saying, I so agree with what you said. Thank you for standing up for life. I don't even remember what I said. I'd have to go back and watch it, but I don't think people are with Nikki Haley that we have to somehow concede any ground on that. We have to message it better. And I thought actually Vivek did a better job of messaging last night than she did.